Welcome back. It is still the iBrand Daybreak, and we will be taking you through the focus of today, which is the just concluded supplementary elections, which was held in 24 states of Nigeria. Some of these states were Adamawa, Kebbi, Rivers State, Oyo, and Sokoto State. It was recalled that the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, announced that supplementary elections for the National Assembly, together with the governorship and state assembly positions, which took place on the 15th of March 2023, that there were going to be supplementary elections just this last Saturday. And joining us to have this conversation today is Mr. Matthew Oluku. He is a public affairs analyst. Good morning, Mr. Matthew, and welcome.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us, Matthew Oluku. Well, we start what happened on Saturday, where there were supplementary elections in 24 states of the country. And of course, there have been questions as regards the functioning of the beavers, voter apathy, and also the fact that, we are going to focus on Adamawa elections, of course, which is a talk of the town, looking at what happened on Saturday. But let me first get your general overview of what happened during the supplementary elections.
You are talking generally, not restricted to Adamawa State, are you?
Yes. The 24 states.
Okay, to be quite honest with you, personally, I have lost confidence in the ability of the umpire to conduct free, fair, and credible election. So, looking at what transpired generally in the supplementary election, we are hearing so much news about irregularity, about people circumventing the rule. Personally, I'm not comfortable with the news we are hearing. Even as I told you that I've been issue, I've lost confidence in the ability of the umpire to conduct a free, fair, and credible process. But the only way I would have been, my hope, or rather my confidence would be rekindled, is if I see INEC conducted a free, fair, and credible process. But what happened now is another issue where INEC is perhaps shooting itself in the foot. So to be quite honest with you, I am not comfortable with what we are hearing.
There's been a lot of conversations around how that the elections generally has not been free, fair, and credible, and it's like a wall and two people in two different sides. The umpire saying they did their best to give Nigerians what they deserve as a properly curated elections, and you see these things in the news, and you just said you lost confidence because you don't see it as it's supposed to be. To you, if you were to make a suggestion, what would be a properly conducted election for you? What would be a free, fair, and credible election?
A free, fair, and credible election is one that is devoid of rancor, violence, a situation where you have a seamless process. Because to be quite honest with you, in our electoral law, we do not, violence do not have a place. And good thing, you are conducting an election where the government, all the instrumentality of government is supposed to be used to ensure that you have a peaceful process. If as INEC, we understand that you do not have the power to police the nation, the polling units, the constituency, as the case may be, then you are synergizing with the police. They are demanded to protect life and property. And to be quite honest with you, what more disturbing and worrying is a situation where the alleged declaration of a winner in that Adamawa was done under the cover of the Commissioner of Police in that state, and even the rest of the others. So you begin to wonder, if people who have the mandate to protect life and property, who should know the law, position of the law better, are the one giving protection to people who are perceived or who are alleged to be circumventing the rule, then our democracy is in danger.
Indeed, this isn't the first time there would be talks about the fact that people do not believe in the electoral system anymore. But there were concerns, or some people actually said that this supplementary election actually had a higher voter turnout as against the one we experienced February 25th and March 11th, or rather March 18th. Do you subscribe to that school of thought?
Perhaps have more people turning out is not far-fetched. Because I have a situation where you need a small percentage of the people to determine who becomes the governor, the House of Assembly member, the senator, the House of Rep member, the case may be. So you have the politicians spending more time and even resources, the electorates. Let's take the Adamawa case as a scenario.
Let's not go to Adamawa yet, Mr. Matthew, because that is another kettle of fish on its own. But if you say that, hold on, please. Hold on, Mr. Matthew. Mr. Matthew, hold on. I'm trying to, cue in from what you said earlier that, politicians had to woo more people. Are you saying that voter, what's it called now? Voter inducement, vote buying was higher during these elections?
There's no doubt you must have issue of vote buying. There's no doubt without vote buying. If you have a supplementary election of this nature, you are likely going to have more people turning out to vote. Because you have a situation where you need a few number of persons to determine the fate of a state, of a House of Rep member, a senator, as the case may be. So the level of campaign, the level of, if you call it investment, or whatever manner they decide to use is high. So even in some instances where some women were even praying for people who gave their rapper as a price, and they didn't even know that the person is buying their future. What I'm saying is, when you have a situation where instead of perhaps all the rich all the rich people who are so have not have actually voted, and you needed a small percentage, let's say less than 7% of the total number of accredited of people who collected their PVC is the one that will determine who eventually becomes the governor, has member, senate, as the case may be. Definitely, the campaign will be intense, and you are likely going to see more people coming out to vote. That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay. Well, you were talking about the fact that they were giving out wrappers and different materials. Is this submitting to that narrative that vote buying has now changed the dimension as against the fact that it was the use of Naira notes? We saw it in the papers earlier that the Naira even gained, some notches higher, went some notches higher because of the fact that the economy was dollarized during the supplementary elections. What are your thoughts on that?
No, I didn't know clearly, but the issue is vote buying has always been with us. And with or without the Naira policy, or whether we are using the block, you agree with me that since the CBI has complied with the directive of the court or judgment of the court to recirculate the old Naira notes, Naira in terms of using it on the base voters to influence vote is no longer a challenge. Even before the recirculation of the old Naira notes, there were issues that has to do with people making it transfer to be voters. So vote buying is a very big challenge. Until we address it, we are not likely going to be having free, fair, and credible election where people will vote to their conscience.
All right. I'm going to ask you this. I'm sure Bolanle has her questions concerning Adamawa, but it also touches where I am going to. Who would you say is to blame, and who should take the blame? Actually, we get these testaments all over social media, and even people are living the reality of electoral violence and vote buying and all that, and rigging keeps going, notches up every time. For every opportunity people get to spend more time before elections actually happen, you see people employing different patterns to these vote buying and all that. Who should take the blame? And is there a law in place to make sure that whoever is caught is actually prosecuted and they get the punishments that they deserve?
To be quite honest with you, if you are looking at who should take the blame is to be distributed between the police and the umpire. But I think the larger portion of the blame should go to the umpire. Because even as umpire, you will have the right by law to review the process before declaring result and election in areas where they are satisfied that the process was breached. Just like we saw in the presidential election when the PDP agent, Dino Meleni, raised an issue, the INEC chairman who doubled as the INEC chairman and the result officer for that election promised to review the process before returning home. That he didn't do anyway, but I have to tell you that the commission reserve right to review the process before declaring returning winner. So that said, the commission have some level of blame. The police have the mandate to protect life and property. So take the blame when people appreciate this of the electoral process. Because you don't ask the INEC commissioner, resident INEC commissioner in the state to stop arresting hoodlums, political thugs who are punishing God and dangerous weapons, disturbing the process. That is within the purview of the police, who will synergize with the GSS and other relevant security agencies that have the responsibility to the election. So if you are looking at who should take the blame, it is
the umpire,
the security agencies and the umpire.
Indeed. Well, you know, you just talked about election declaration, and it just takes me back to Adamawa State, where it's a really big hullabaloo, especially looking at the fact that the state rec, the resident electoral commissioner, declared a result which is unconstitutionally right for him to do, and then we see the returning officer, of course, going against that. Even INEC has issued a statement saying they are not in line with that, they are not in tandem with that, and that it is null and void. We've even seen Aisha Dahiru Benani already giving her acceptance speech in respect to that declaration. What do you make of all this unconstitutionality happening in Adamawa State?
But I must say that for me, it is purely an aberration. And if you are looking at the word that was sued by the foremost playwright, Professor Osheka, when they talk about fascism, I think this is the right time to use that word. For me, it is reprehensible, and it should be condemned by every right-thinking member of the society. Because you have a situation where it is very clear that the INEC Presidential Electoral Commissioner have no right under the law to declare the result. So it's a usurpation, just like INEC put it. It's a usurpation by the power of the return officer. And I think because I've heard about so many commissions where people are saying that the have no power to remove the wreck. But I want to understand and I believe that there is a provision in the Electoral Act that empowers the government to prosecute anyone that has a such manner, particularly where you go and declare a result knowingly that is not true. And particularly section 120, subsection 4 of the Electoral Act, that rules how such person should be prosecuted. And if you equally look at section 6, subsection 2 of the Electoral Act, it gives INEC power to summon the rec. I think that is within that power that INEC is expecting that he has summoned the rec. But I think we should not wait until the man is removed from office. The man is not enjoying any immunity. As far as I'm concerned, the man are not having guilty because in our legal jurisprudence, one is innocent until proven by court of competent jurisdiction. Nothing guilty. But I think since he does not enjoy any immunity, the authorities should not wait. They should go ahead to do all their investigation and get it prosecuted. And again, in purpose work, where you see the alleged act was done under the protection of the Colonial Police in that state, under the protection of the Director of DSS in that state. So you need to ask, even the rec himself, who is a lawyer, should have known better. That what he is against the law, and he should have known the implication. The police that have a mandate to protect party to even enforce the law, should even know the position of the law. So if they are the one telling and appraising someone who is sacrificing the process, to tell you, Bola, I think our democracy is in danger.
All right. You started off these conversations, mentioning how that you lost, trust in the electoral umpire in Nigeria. But I'd like you to compare the 2023 general elections in general and, the elections we've had in the past. Put it together and, tell us, where do you see elections in Nigeria in the future? Do you think we made any progress? And do you think, it can be better polished come the next elections?
I think it will be an illusion to say we did not make any progress. Though the way it's dancing is an impediment to the progress we needed to have holistically. But what I say it will be an illusion to say we didn't make any progress is because in this election cycle, we had opportunity to use the new Electoral Act that have passed INEC to transmit the election result electronically, that have passed INEC to introduce a level of technology into the electoral process. And this was not the situation before now. And to an extent, you cannot say holistically that there are no issues, there are no places where these two interventions have engendered free, fair, and credible process. Let me refer your mind back to what happened in Abia State, where the return officer raised alarm that the powers that be in that case where she returned a winner came with threats. One check was not working, they came with intimidation. They came with intimidation. When those were not working, we are not working. They came with imprisonment with money, and she did it. She stood her ground. So if not for the intervention of technology, the beavers, and we saw somebody, a return officer, who decided to stand out against all odds and allow the process to run the way it should run. So to that extent, you cannot say holistically that there is no improvement in our electoral process. I just cited that as an instance. There are some other isolated instances where you will see the process throw up a non-popular candidate. Like in Kaduna State, where an Okada rider won a rep member. So there are so many takeaways as a result of intervention of technology in our current electoral cycle. But again, I think INEC that have the responsibility to manage the process is our biggest challenge. Because even Professor Okoye told us severally before the election that the people is supposed to be the ultimate arbiter. And we begin to wonder after the presidential election, when they will declare a winner and return a winner, we are not sure whether you already had the total number of accredited voters for that election to the people to IREM and IREM and Mayakaba. So to that extent, to what extent can you not say that the beavers were the arbiter? It borders on the integrity and patriotism of the people managing the process. So conclusively, to answer your question, we had some level of progress in this round of election compared to previous elections.
We are quite pressed for time, but let's just wrap up on this Adamawa issue. We see Binani already giving that acceptance speech, and I'm wondering if that's constitutionally right, especially considering the fact that she knows the rule of law, she knows the processes, and she's aware that the person who announced as the state rec isn't constitutionally empowered to do that.
Let me tell you that the way if you look at the speed of light with which she gave acceptance speech, it will tell you that it was not a spontaneous reaction. It was something
prepared.
that was planned. So for me, that is why in investigating and prosecuting every perceived collaborator in that shameful act, they should not leave any stone unturned. Because that is the only way you can foresaw future occurrence. That's the only way you can deter people from doing the wrong thing. Until you start prosecuting offenders of our laws, you are not likely going to see an end to this kind of brigandage.
Thank you so much. Quite apt and in-depth analysis you've given us on the show this morning. As always, Matthew Oluku, Public Affairs Analyst. Thank you and have a great day.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
I like the angle that he took with the conversation. He was apt and straight to the point, and he spoke his mind, you know, and that kind of got to me, because I liked that he wasn't out there denying the fact that everything we saw happen on Saturday didn't happen, you know, which is what we usually get from other analysts and, you know, political players when they come on the media and you're asking them, so there was a fight in your street, and he'll be like, no, fight where? But, you know, telling the truth, that is how you go about restoring trust, you know, people's trust in the whole process, and, you know, getting people to not lose faith, because I think what we've seen so far in the 2023 general elections is enough to kill people's belief, especially for first-time voters, people who had just turned 18 and this is the first time, and, you know, they're all hyped and pumped up for that conversation, for the whole process. And then I have a friend who actually got beaten. And, you know, the representative who was supposed to come and speak for his polling unit actually said there was no violence in his polling unit, everything went. And you begin to wonder, these are people that are supposed to speak on our behalf. These are people that are supposed to be representatives of the people, and you shove them under the bus with just one click. God will continue to save us in Nigeria. That's all I can say.
A big amen to that.
All right, just coming up next will be personal finance with Charles. I'm hoping that you stick around and stay with us, because if a lot of us actually know how to handle our finance, I am sure nobody can use poverty against us. So you really need to stick around and find out what Charles has to say to us this morning. Stay with us.